Hey, Tony Gasson here. Now think about this. One thing I noticed with our connections, our relationships today, is that we're seeking perfection. And to be honest with you, that is a huge mistake because nobody is perfect. Nobody's gonna be perfect. The key, the goal is progress. So you got to make sure that the person you're with and yourself, that you're making progress, that you're trying to do the right thing and you're working towards it. Not that you're perfect, because it's always going to be somebody else who has something that your person doesn't have. And they're going to have something, but you don't know if the something that they have is worth anything. You don't know if it's of substance. You don't know if it's real. So one thing I noticed with men today is a lot of men are looking for a perfect woman. A woman who has a perfect body based on the societal standard, what society is pushing. So the man wants her skin to be this perfect, texture, complexion, wants her hair to be a certain way, her nose, her lips, her breasts, her butt, her thighs, her stomach, and wants this human being to have this perfect proportion shape before the baby, after the baby. And then men compare her to other women. And a lot of times the man does not know that this woman got her stomach done, got her breast done, got her butt done, got her arms done, got her ears done, got her nose done, got her lips done, got a $2,000 wig on, got $1,000, $1,500 worth of installation of hair, and $10,000, $20,000 worth of installation of butt. Got all kind of stuff done. And men today are taking their woman who is working on herself and trying to build her body and may not have the money to just go to Dr. Such and such, and or may not have the belief system that that's okay, or may not want to do that. So she's trying to do everything she can with Dr. Jim, Gym, not Jim. So she going to Dr. Jim, 24-hour fitness, Lifetime, whoever, and she's working there, and something just not gonna act right, something just not gonna tone up right. And so as men going to the nasty movies, and you looking at this woman perform, and you comparing her to your woman, you looking at a woman who she does that for a living, and you want your woman to be like that in the room when your woman just got off a job, or doing something, or taking care of kids for a living. But you comparing her to this woman who twisting and turning and dipping and sliding, flipping and dipping on this video that you watching, and that's what she is a professional at, and that's what she does. And so we trying to quote unquote build something real, but we building it on fantasy basis. We doing it like it's a fantasy. And then vice versa, you have women who are looking for a man, and the man has to be this certain height, he has to make this certain amount of money, he got to have this certain kind of muscle. And it's women with a stomach who want a man with an 8-pack. It's women who is 5'2" who want a man that's 6 foot. It's women who make 40,000 who want a man that make 150,000. And then it's women who go on Instagram and see this man who actually is a cheater or a dog do a birthday party for his woman, and he did the party and showed it to the world because he's trying to get out the doghouse. And then the woman wants her man who working a regular job, who making decent money, but got bigger plans like buying a house or building a business, wants him to go and spend $5,000 on a party planner to have balloons and roses and rent out this facility for her birthday. because she saw that on Instagram. And so on both sides, what's happening with the connection and the breakdown is that we're seeking perfection. We're seeking perfection and not progress. And we are comparing our reality to somebody else, highlight reel, our dream to somebody else, fantasy, not realizing that a dream is rooted in purpose and a fantasy is rooted in pleasure. And that's where we're going wrong, because we miss comparing and everybody judging everybody. So now you come to this crossroads to where you could be building and things could be real, but instead it's fake. And it's fake because now you're in a place to where, okay, this partner or that partner still comparing their partner to everything they seeing on Instagram, and it's not real, but they don't know that. And the game is rigged. The game is rigged because this woman, she may be looking at her man who's working an honest job and he making honest money, so he has an honest budget, and she's comparing her man to this other woman's man who is a scammer, who is in a Ponzi scheme, who is in illegal activity, and he's spending that illegal money on his woman, and he's doing that to lull her to sleep, to get her comfortable and complacent because he's cheating on her. And so now the woman is putting unrealistic expectations financially on her man. And then the man is putting unrealistic sexual requirements on his woman because of what he's into online. And the game is rigged. And so I start to realize that as I'm dealing with relationships and I'm hearing people and talking to people and I'm looking around and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I'm been married 14 years and I'm 100% faithful to my wife. But if I see a woman on Instagram and as I start to look around and I start to see, I can't compare my wife's body after 2 kids and a very busy schedule and a lot of hormone changes and all of this stuff to, being in mid 30s with our whole life and how fast it moves. I can't compare her to this woman who is her same age with no kids, or this woman who is her same age who went to the doctor and got everything taken care of, or this woman who is 22 or 25 who her metabolism still is strong enough to beat the McDonald's that she eating. That would be an unfair comparison in any way, because my wife's body, her genetic makeup is going to be different than the next woman. If this woman comes from this here tribe in Africa where everybody is built like this certain way, regardless of their age, how they eat or whatever, and then my wife come from a tribe in India or a tribe, over here, and because of their region and their area, their genetics and their body, their makeup is totally different. It's an unfair comparison. And even if they're from the same tribe, it's still an unfair comparison because they're 2 different people, 2 different lifestyles, 2 different bodies. And so that's what we're taking and doing, is we comparing. And that's what I tell people all the time. I talk about love and relationships online, and I tell women all the time, you don't know the behind the scenes of me and my wife. So don't listen to what I'm just saying and just assume and start comparing me to your man just because I'm a talking head online. That's the death of your relationship. You got to go into the real of your relationship, because I may say something to my wife that had her in tears because it was too blunt. It was too real, too raw. And you never heard that. So you might look at me like this guy who is just 100% perfect at all times of my 14 years of marriage, and that my wife just had living this huge dream and never had to cry and never had to worry and never had to stress. And that would be a lie. And then you comparing somebody you watch online to your man who actually busting his butt and trying his best to do everything he can for you in that relationship, But if he can't buy you this or take you there or do this or do that, you're looking at him like he's less than a man. And vice versa with the men looking at the women who painting a picture. Because there's a lot of women online who painting this picture and they wagging that little tail, you know, and showing off their flat stomach and showing off the perkies and not the pills, the uphill, showing all this off and got Dr. Such and Such on retainer. They've been in there to that man table 3-4 times. And he's so good the way it looked natural. The way you believe in it. And then you looking at your woman. All you do is eat Oreo. Get on my nerve. You looking down on your woman and she living a real existence. And so that's the thing. Stop comparing. Stop making up requirements, preferences, not standards. Standards is rooted in morals and values. Your standards come from your morals and your values. Your preferences come from your likes and dislikes, which are rooted in superficial things. You got to understand the difference between your standards and your preferences in order to have a relationship that's going to work. And you're going to realize that nobody is going to meet all of your preferences because your preferences are programmed from the media. Nobody's going to meet that. So if my wife leaned on her preferences, then I would be 6 foot. I would have to be 6 foot tall. I'm 5'10", 5'9.5" on a bad day. So in my mind, I'm 6'4". But if she leaned on her preferences, I would have to be 6 foot tall. And especially because she's 5'7.5", 5'8" on a good day, 5'11" with heels. You see what I mean? But she's not leaning on her preferences. If she leaned on her preferences, I would have to be a biomedical science major instead of a criminology major. If she leaned on her preferences, I would have had to be whatever body science major or a pre-med major or a social political science major with the goal of going to law school and becoming a lawyer. If she leaned on preferences from society that says you need a man that's going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something of the likes. But instead she looked at me, criminology major, Africana studies, you like to write, but who are you on the inside? Criminology major, what you gonna do with that? Become a police officer, become a detective, $45K, $65K a year. Okay. If I was going to be a osteo something doctor, that's $400,000 a year. You know, 100K a year to 400K a year. But look what happened. She leaned on her standards. Do you know God? Do you love God? Are you trying to be better every day? Are you working towards something? Yes, 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 yes. Guess what? Together we built to where we earn more than doctors. We earn more than lawyers. We earn more than some pro athletes. She could have we was at a Division I school. She could have dated a future draft pick. I got kicked off the football team. She could have went to a draft pick if she was leaning on preferences. And the same vice versa. I could have just been looking at body. Do you got a flat stomach with a couple abs poking out? Do you got no stomach, great hips, round booty? You know, are you short enough to make me feel like more of a man because I'm 5'10", so I need you to be 5'4", so I could feel tall versus being 5'8". Like if I leaned on my preferences, we wouldn't be here today. So I say that to say the relationships that's really working and that's happy, those relationships got over preferences and looked at the standards and removed what society said is handsome and beautiful and magazine worthy. Removed what society said and looked at the heart of the person and say, this person is for me. And that's how you make it work. And I'm a living testimony. And the people I see that's happy and made it work, they had to get over themselves. They're not going, every good couple that works is not going to look like they just stepped out of a magazine. It's not going to look like they were carved side by side in heaven. They had to get over their preferences. They had to get over their ego, themselves. They had to get out of their fantasy, and they had to get into reality and get rooted in reality and look at the person's character and let the character be their currency. And that's what's going to make you or break you. Hey, this is Tony Gasson. God bless you. We'll talk soon.